Play the cards you're dealt. What does that mean? When I was younger, I realized I was the most talented or physically gifted. I wasn't born tall, fast, or strong. Growing up in both Taiwan and California, I was made fun of because I didn't play basketball the right way. I dribbled the basketball with two hands. I couldn't run a mile. I didn't dress like the cool kids. I was bullied a lot because I was uncoordinated and unconfident. This was all physical. Mentally, I wasn't the best at taking tests or doing exceptionally well in school. I would second guess myself on answers. I was afraid to ask questions. I wasn't like the average kid. I felt weaker than everybody else surrounded by. And also, terrified to publicly speak and talk to people definitely didn't help. Many times I wish I had a better hand of cards, and anything was better than the current hand I had. But then things started to change once I got into martial arts. Jiu-jitsu was the first martial art I ever learned. It was introduced to me by my brother-in-law, Dave Camarillo, who is a judo and jiu-jitsu black belt. I started at jiu-jitsu at the age of 9. I dabbled on and off of it, but being unathletic and uncoordinated is not fun when you see everybody, do so well in class and passing you by. But then what I ended up loving about it so much was that it's pure. You can't fake how good you are. You could put on a fake black belt, but if you train with somebody who knows what they're doing, you get exposed really fast. Jiu-jitsu and martial arts simply came down to who was better, who worked harder, right? And it taught me respect. It taught me how to deal with my lack of athleticism and uncoordination by making me more comfortable with it. And what I mean by that was in class when I practiced moves and techniques, you'd be in an uncomfortable position. You get put in chokeholds, right? That's not comfortable. Nobody likes that. But then it teaches you to be relaxed. You have to breathe. You have to stay calm, because if you didn't, it'd be more uncomfortable. So I'm a huge comic book fan. I love watching Marvel and all the superhero movies. And I was watching Captain America one day, and I heard him say, "If you keep running, they'll never let you stop." And I was tired of running. I wanted to face my problems. I wanted to deal with my adversity. I wanted to be good at something because I saw everybody around me have some sort of talent. They're good at piano, music, Even if they weren't good at athletic sports, they were good in school. So then I thought the very least I can become somewhat proficient in martial arts. So I started taking it a little bit more seriously and trained more. And that led me to my first competition. And I still remember it. It was a couple thousand-seater arena. Before my first match, I hadn't even warmed up yet. But I was sweating so much that it felt like I had. So I wasn't sure. I was like, did I already warm up or what's going on here, It was just, and then the lights were bright. It's like right now, the lights were bright. It was shining down on me. I was sweating, and it was getting to me. And then the negative thoughts started coming in. Don't do this. You're too small. Go be a doctor and lawyer. Because that's what all Asian parents want, right? And I started finding these excuses to not do this. But then I thought to myself, can I wake up the next day and be proud? How much longer could I keep running for? Can I wake up the next day, brush my teeth, look in the mirror, and go like, you know what, you're going to be running the rest of your life and not face this adversity? And as all that was going through my head, the referee asked me, he says, are you ready? You're on next. And I was too scared to say no. So then I ended up competing. The last thing I remember, I don't remember anything from the tournament, what I did. The last thing I remember was just this bright light. It's kind of like right now. Surprisingly, I ended up winning. I don't know how. I really don't, but I ended up winning. And I went home, celebrated, showed my medal off to my parents. But then what I ended up realizing was, if you want drastic change, you need drastic measures. If you want to break your bad habits, you need to do things you're uncomfortable with. And that's what martial arts was. It presented me daily challenges. Martial arts isn't fair. It favors the athletically more developed person. It favors the more talented individual. All right? But if I wanted to level the playing field, because it's like life, life's not fair. But if I wanted to level the playing field, I need to be more disciplined. What does discipline mean? Discipline means doing something you don't want to do, but you do it because you know it's good for you. So then, by being more disciplined, I ate healthier, slept more, stretched a little bit more. I should still probably be stretching a little bit more than I right now, but I did the best I could. Being disciplined helps you build better habits, a healthier lifestyle. And that's what martial arts did too. It helped me both mentally and physically adapt to many situations in life. Now, after doing a couple of tournaments, and training martial arts a little bit more, I started to realize that this whole time, it came together. It started making more sense. It wasn't chance. And as long as I gave myself a choice, I had a chance. And that's what I realized. So then I started to think, where could this take me? What's next? And I wanted to get better at martial arts. I wanted to not just compete, but I wanted to take this thing to the next level. So I started getting more competitive. I started looking at the kid next to me in class, and I was like, I want to beat him in spelling. I want to beat this kid in chess and checkers. I wanted to go up to a girl I liked and start a conversation, right? Not be scared. The whole point was to not be scared. And that's what competitiveness is. It helps you discover something inside you that you might have never known existed this whole time. Or you never knew was there. And that's what competitiveness did for me. It helped bring out this inner beast, Except I was afraid to show it. I didn't know how to deal with it yet. I just knew something was inside. The confidence started building. And there's always the next step and level you want to take things to. Seeing how far I've grown from day one, the path I was on, till now, it's very rewarding in itself. And that's what martial arts is, the martial artist mindset. It's the unattainable goal of self-perfection, but you still try to strive for it. And because of that, that led me to the next step, the next challenge. I did my first MMA fight at the age of 21. It was an amateur fight. I never thought I would be fighting. Not because I didn't want to, but because I never thought I was capable of it. It's like you say, hey, I'm going to win the lottery, and then one day you win the lottery, and you're like, oh, wow, I never thought it was going to be, I didn't prepare for this. So then I had adversity going into this. I was like, okay, I could either accept this challenge, take this fight, and train for it and do the best I can and prepare the best I could for it. Or I could not accept the challenge, be in bed, drinking some Zhenzu Nai Cha, some boba milk tea. That sounds good. Some Uber Eats or something to home and stay in bed. That's comfortable. That sounds really comfortable. But the competitiveness was just still there, and the opportunity was rare. So then I took it. I think I took the fight not really knowing where I was going to go. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. But when it came to fight night and the cage door closed and the training was done, everything was done, I was standing across from an opponent. And he did a 1,000-yard stare, the stare was so strong, it went through the back of my head. I could feel it just like, and I was like, oh man, this is why my parents didn't want me to do this. This is why nobody wants to do this. It's scary. He was bigger than me. He was stronger than me. All the above. Anything you think of, that's exactly what it was. And the negative thoughts started creeping back. How familiar it was. Find an excuse. You know, you're better at school. Don't do this. You know, you're safer going to school, going to college, this and that. The only difference, though, was this time, through the accumulation of training and the life lessons I've learned, at this very moment, I was able to actually take control of those thoughts and fight back for the first time. It was exciting. As we were about to fight, I was like, hey, I could do this. Yeah, he's bigger. Yeah, he's stronger. But there was some positivity behind my thoughts. I was able to manifest this positive energy from the lessons I learned. So about a minute into this fight, I was just trying to muster up the courage to even throw one punch. This whole time, I was just circling around. I remember when I was circling around, too, there's brief moments where I saw my mom and dad in the crowd. And they're expressionless, like, regardless if you do good or not, right? So I was like, are you guys proud? Are you guys happy? Like, what's going on? Come on, give me something. Give me some encouragement, you know? But I didn't get anything from them. They're just watching, like this. And then, next thing you know, I don't know what came over me, but about a minute, 22 seconds into the fight, I threw 22 punches at my opponent. And it was a TKO. I TKO'd my opponent. My parents were there. It was exciting. And instead of winning the fight and being, super emotion, screaming and then like running around, jumping on the cage, which I thought I was going to do, I ended up just taking a bow, checking on my opponent, making sure he was okay. The emotions I thought that was built up, that pent up, that I used to get bullied, now I'm kind of the one doing bullying, ironic, but he signed up for this. But it's just that whole mentality of this journey, this road that brought me here. I thought I would do more, but instead it was just really quiet. And then it all settled in. After the fight, it all settled down, and I realized that this whole time, I was never in competition with anyone else. This whole time, the biggest problems I've ever had came from within. Yeah, I'm going to have, external issues. There's going to always be people that aren't fair, they don't play nice, but you learn to deal with it. And for the first time, I realized that, I was like, man, I'm on my own journey. Everybody is on their own journey. And if you make comparisons to other people's lives, you'll never feel content or happiness. Because the comparisons are endless. Yeah, I think I'm great, but then the guy next to me is probably taller than me. He's probably stronger than me. But what does that mean? Why are you making the comparisons? Everybody is on a different path. Fast forward a short few years later, as I carried that mentality on with me. Now, I'm a pro athlete. I'm a pro MMA fighter. Growing the sport of MMA in Taiwan, I'm the first MMA fighter with a Taiwanese background to have made it to Bellator. And Bellator is the second biggest MMA organization in the United States. And I'm very honored with that. And now I'm doing a TEDx speech. We all have tough times. We all go through issues. We all wish circumstances were different. But we learn to adapt to them. Many times we go through tough times and bad days. We all have them. But like a muscle, we need to keep working at it in order to grow. And if I can do it, anybody can. That's what it means to play the cards you were dealt. Thank you.